Hey everybody, welcome to the box seats. Not sure what's going on. Everybody, welcome to Box Seats. I'm your host, Frank Holder. I'm not sure what's going on today. You know, computer sticking. And I know I don't owe no money on my cable bill, so that can't be it. This show today, the fellow's not going to join it the way we want them all to, but we're working on that. First up is my man known as A-Rock Silly, Amir Silly. Amir, thank you for joining the show. How you doing today, bro? How's everything?
I'm good. Thank you, man. Hey, happy Monday to everybody. I hope you gentlemen had wonderful Thanksgivings and everything.
Yeah, same to you too. Also, a big shout out to my man Mike Sean. Mike, how you doing today? How's your Thanksgiving?
Excellent. R.I.P. to all the turkeys.
Only you would say that, Mike.
I hate being part of that Holocaust that happened, but
it happens though. It happens.
I didn't create this travesty. I didn't create. I'm a follower. I followed. I'm sorry.
All right, so we're gonna have some people join the show. A couple other people possibly join the show today. We'll see what happens. But let's get ready to get this show started, man. And Amir, I'm gonna start out with you, man, and because the COVID report that came out today, I think you saw the news today. If you haven't seen the news just yet, I'm gonna just throw it out there to you. Dallas Cowboys coach Mike McCarthy tested positive for COVID-19. He's not going to coach this Thursday against the Saints. And the big news is he's among the 7 other coaches right now. And the COVID, basically what's going on with COVID right now is so bad in the Cowboys facility and everything else. They don't even have a great handle on it. So I'm going to start with you, Mike. I mean, by now, this is week 12 going into 13. This is a COVID issue happening again. I gotta say, I'm really shocked to see that the NFL team is literally being affected by COVID right now at this juncture in the season. I'm not even gonna throw up any government issues or anything like that. I'm just gonna say, like, I'm kind of shocked that we're seeing a football team be affected in week 12, 13 when you're supposed to have your shot. You're supposed to be on top of this. What's your thoughts, Amir? Am I overlooking this? What's your thoughts?
Well, I mean, first off, based off of even the information that they shared with us, the shots do not stop you from supposedly catching it or even, being able to pass it on to others. So, I think the real travesty, and Mike touched on this eons ago, is when you start at the top for all of what's going on with COVID protocol from our government on down, it's just one big mess. And the sad part is, we have to really try to do our best to act as though this all makes sense to us. You gave people certain protocols. You told them, hey, if you follow these guidelines, these things are going to happen. And it seems like none of the things and guidelines that they gave us seem to be working and or are true. So you really are stuck. Like, what do we do next? Like, what is our next move based off of what we're seeing? You know what I mean? Like, it's confusing.
Right, but the crazy part about this, Mike, and I'm going to be completely honest, the crazy part about this is I will be highly upset if something like this happens to a team I'm rooting for. I'm not even talking about if it's the Patriots. Obviously, we know I'm a big Patriots fan, but it would be really a damn shame if a star QB and coach gets knocked out and it's the playoffs and it's somebody you're looking forward to seeing, and then they can't compete that week because of COVID. I would be highly upset about that. I know there's nothing we could do about that, but I think we're on the train for that. I think I said that last year. I wouldn't be surprised if I saw that this year. I just think it's going to happen. What's your thoughts on this, Mike?
There are 90,000 people at AT&T Stadium to see Cowboy games. 90,000. No, there's 90s, almost 100,000. None of them wear masks, and we're surprised that somebody has COVID.
Right.
I don't get. First of all, it's Texas, and I've lived in Texas for the last 8 years. During the lockdown, Dak Prescott had a party at his house during the lockdown. Mm-hmm. He had a gathering with like 20 to 25 people. Listen, y'all not gonna get me with this COVID anymore. Y'all gonna miss me with that. Take your vitamin D, and I'm not gonna say pause. I'm serious. Take your vitamin D. Take the vitamins that you have to take to enhance your immune system, because all the nonsense is just nonsense now. This is nonsense. All these guys, we don't even know if Mike McCarthy was even vaccinated. Have we heard of that? Is his status? Have we heard
No,
that?
but what we have heard is that like 85 to 90% of all NFL teams and NFL players and everything else are supposed to be vaccinated against that. But you hit you hit the nail right on the head, man. I mean, there's nothing we can say because I haven't heard anything that, you know what we do here? We hear when people aren't vaccinated and then they got to miss that week. That's what we hear. We don't hear who is vaccinated and who's not going to be in for that week. You know what I mean, Mike? That's what we hear.
It's people. This is the reality of the reality. There's no common sense to it.
Yeah.
And they try and keep pushing this down our throats, and there's no common sense to it.
Yeah.
That means that let me ask you this. So Mike McCarthy was coaching. He coached his team, and he had his he was in the locker room, and he was giving his locker room speeches and stuff. So whatever he did, then he tested positive.
Right.
Well, if he tested positive, and he was around his entire team, what do you think is going to happen?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's take it a step further. Last week on Thanksgiving Day, he was there with the team. He talked to his team. The team that went on the field and spit on a bunch of players from another team. Droplets were all over the field.
That's true.
Common sense will tell you that this is going to lead to what it's going to lead to. And he's going to be fine. He'll be back. Nobody's saying he's on a ventilator. No disrespect to anybody who's lost anybody to COVID. Yes. So please don't take it that way. I'm saying nobody's saying his life's in jeopardy or anything. This is the common everyday life that we're going to be living from here on out. My plea to everybody is research how you can build your immune system. Research the things you can build your immune system to make it stronger. I'm vaccinated. If you're not vaccinated, that's your choice also. But y'all not going to get me caught up getting emotional about this stuff because the NFL isn't emotional about this stuff. Because if they were, they would stop the season right now and go, if you are not vaccinated, you can't play.
Yeah.
But they won't. They won't because the Dallas Cowboy game last week had the highest ratings since 1989. 38 million people watched it. That's why they won't.
I was just about to say that. I said,
did they lose? Didn't they lose that? Okay.
Come on, man. It was a Thanksgiving. You don't know. He just wanted to say that. That's coming from a Giants fan. They lost. Yeah,
no question. No question.
And I bet money. I won money on the under. Let's talk about what's really important. I won money because I played the under on that game.
Yeah, that's smart, man. All right, let's move on because I want to talk about some of the NFL games in a second. But something happened on Thursday or Friday that obviously we didn't do the show for the last couple of days because of Thanksgiving holiday. But something happened, and I want to bring this up, and then we can jump to the NFL weekend and talk about a couple other things. But I don't know if you saw this, Amir, but LeBron James, I saw a clip of it. LeBron James gets a fan ejected from the game. Now, I don't know what the fans said. I didn't know at that time what the fans said, but this at the moment, at the time, it was unusual for me to see a player stop and get somebody ejected, during the game. And I was like, wow, I've never heard that, never seen it and everything else. Then obviously the word came out that the person said, I wish Bronny get killed in a car accident. So something really, really crazy and everything else. And LeBron stopped the game and got two people ejected and everything else. I don't know where to go with this. I don't even know really what the NBA is going to do about this. But I think since the word got out, I think we're going to expect to see more fans saying really more cruel things like this and everything else. But there should be a line drawn across, not just get escorted out the game. I think you should never be able to have any NBA tickets sold to you again at all if you say something along the lines of that. You know what I mean? It's worse to me. That was worse than being called the N-word because you were saying something about his children and getting killed. I mean, it was really horrible. But what's your take on this, man? What you think?
Now, you know what's so funny about this, Frank? So I didn't know anything about it. My older brother and I were headed to my sister's for Thanksgiving, and he brought it up to me. He said, hey, did you see the situation with Braun? And I was like, no. And he, explained to me the whole story. And to be honest with you, again, y'all know we've talked about it on the show. I had a brother who, played professional basketball. So I'm a little, close to this, close to home when it comes to stuff like this. I think that one of the real unfortunate things that we don't see and we don't understand, because we talk about our athletes, we talk about our entertainers. Mike, as a comedian. The list goes on and on and on. And we try our best to act as though they're not human for whatever reason. We give them all the heck in the world, and we ostracize and we say things that are not fair and this and that and the third, and then we act as though they're not human or like they don't have feelings. In this particular case, first and foremost, to say something like that to anybody, let's take away the fact that LeBron is even a basketball player. To say something like that to any human being about their child is absolutely like unimaginable. My thing is, obviously we never want to see this because we had the Malice in the Palace twice now, and things of that nature. But doesn't it then make you wonder if and when fans and entertainers and people do go off, why you can't necessarily always be mad at them? Because as a fan, your job is to go out there, enjoy what this person's talent is, and that's it, and go home. If they showed up to your job and they said things like this to you at your job, how would you feel? How would you take that? You know what I mean? Like that. I just thought it was so out of line. And like I said, when I heard exactly what was said, I was just like, wow, like that's like I'm like you. I think that not only should they be banned, I'm not even sure if you should be let into any sporting event if you're gonna come with that kind of virile, what you call it when it comes to talking about somebody like that. It's one thing to, talk about a person's jump shot, their play, whatever. But when you start attacking people's children and things like that, and I'm a parent, I know Mike is. I'm not sure if you are, Frank. That's crossing the line. I'm like I said, I'm surprised LeBron didn't punch him in the face, and I wouldn't have been mad if he did. And I know that's wrong to say, but that's how messed up I think that particular statement was.
But the crazy thing about it is, Amir, which you didn't even mention, is that would those two fans have said that to a 6'10" black man on the street if they were just on the street? You know what I'm saying, Mike? Mike, let's be honest. You could say you feel you get a whole lot of courage when you got everybody else around you. You ain't saying that to no 6'10", 280, 265 pound black man coming down the street. Now, I don't know. I mean, Mike, what's your take on this, bro?
You can't separate what's happening in society, and there used to be an escape, like sports was our escape from what happens. If you watch the vile activity and the things that are said in our society every day on Instagram and on social media, it is now made its way into the sporting arena, and it's been there for a while. Like, we forget when somebody says something crazy to Vernon Maxwell at the Philadelphia Spectrum.
Right.
And Vernon went off that bench and went in that person's mouth. I'm not co-signing it, but I'm also not shaming him for it because I don't know what was said. You could take the tickets away from these people and you could never see them again. But it's upsetting because our IQ has not evolved. We're almost going backwards now. And people are literally going to basketball games as if they own these players. And if they're going to a carnival and they spend 25 cents to touch the carnival guy with the big lump on his head, and they think they can say whatever they want to these players. Mm-hmm. You want to clear this up? Yeah. You want to clear it up? How about this? We put this on a ticket. You say something crazy and he punches you in the face. We do nothing about it. You stand up for yourself. Because this boldness that is going on right now, I'm not even going to tell you. And I said this, somebody hit me on Instagram. It was like, Michael Jordan would have never done that. That's why Michael Jordan's the GOAT. And I thought that was the dumbest comment in the history of the world. I said, I remember going to a game where the things they were saying about Kobe Bryant after he was proven innocent on those charges was so crazy. And they were like, well, he was a bigger man. No, he wasn't a bigger man. He just didn't feel like he had a way to deal with this. Scoring 60 points doesn't make you feel better about what this person is saying about me directly to my face. Yeah. And I don't have an answer for the NBA because I don't have an answer for society because we've never dealt with the one barrier. It was too white. It was a white girl and the white dude saying something crazy. I don't know how the NBA is supposed to answer that because society hasn't been able to figure that out.
Yeah, but some folks just think that imaginary line is a brick wall and it'll hold people back. You say it to the wrong person, I don't know. I mean, because a lot of these dudes are from the street, you know what I mean, and they will forget that in a second.
So, do you know if LeBron would have smacked his face off, LeBron's career and his whole legacy would have been destroyed?
Yeah.
You're right, Mike. But by the same token, to something that you just said, I always tell people. I said we have no idea, or people seem to forget. Like I said, they're human beings too. They're
Yeah.
not machines. They're not robots. They are human beings. They have the same feelings, same emotions as everybody else, y'all. They
Yeah,
just
they
happen to be very skilled at something that they do better than most of us, but that doesn't make them any less human. You
And
know what I
real
mean?
quick, Frank, on just to keep this with comedians, we're watching more and more people walk on stage to approach comedians while they're on stage now.
another great
Wow.
point. Yeah, another great point.
And,
Wow.
and this is where we're going with this. Like
Yeah.
everybody feels that they're open to be able to say or do whatever they want. And once again, I say this commentary without an answer. I don't have an answer on how to take back
Yeah.
300-400 years of this prevailing racism that's going on in this country. And you
Yeah.
know,
And honestly, we could talk about this for a whole hour, but being that we
yeah.
got other sports to talk about, let's keep this thing moving. Let's talk about the NFL now, because there was a lot of games over the weekend. One of the biggest games that stood out to me was the Baker Mayfield, the Cleveland Browns game. I saw Cleveland Browns. I saw the Baltimore Ravens, saw them play and everything else. This morning, I wake up, I listen to the commentary and everything else in Amir, and the biggest thing is that they're talking about should make Baker Mayfield be benched, and because of his performance and the way he, and that completely threw me. So I'm going to ask you, the Baltimore Ravens, they obviously they beat Cleveland Browns. Lamar Jackson threw 4 interceptions. The game was 16-10. Baltimore becomes the top seed in the AFC. Kareem Hunt goes to Facebook and he criticized Baker, and he's saying that Baker's afraid to throw the ball. Now, I was appalled when I read that because I watched that game. I watched that whole game. I didn't think he was. I thought he was appalled because his offensive line was horrible. Did you watch the game, Amir? Because if you did you understand what I'm saying? All right, I was
Yes.
like, that wasn't Baker Mayfield's fault, but the offensive line could barely save that dude and keep him upright because he was running for his life, and he was on a hurt. He was hurt on a half, 1 foot and everything. I don't know. That was my take. What's your take on that Baker Mayfield comment and just everything? What's your take?
Well, I watched the game. Interestingly enough, and we, try not to belittle or ostracize any of the quarterbacks too tough. But let's be clear: defense's job is to make the offense and especially the quarterback uncomfortable. That's their job. It
Right.
doesn't make a difference if they got a rushing 4, they got a rushing 5, whatever. Those guys' job up front is to make that quarterback uncomfortable. Now, it appears to me Baker Mayfield has been, gotten a little banged up over the last few weeks, and like anybody and everything else, I get it. He's the franchise guy. His money's on the line, or whatever the case may be. Maybe he just needs to rest and get back into Baker Mayfield shape. Look, I know he got the commercials going and there's all this hoopla and all these things. And last year they were definitely a surprise for most of us because we haven't seen the Cleveland Browns be any sort of threat since Jim Brown. Let's be clear, and that's
Right.
taking it back a ways. But what I think has happened, like anything, teams figure stuff out. And
Right.
Baker Mayfield has gotten figured out like most teams do. If we play you enough, if I watch enough tape, I figure out little nuances and things that you do, and I do my best to disrupt those things for you. I think to his credit or discredit, Baltimore, to me, and I'm just jump on them for a second. For the last, I think, 4 weeks in a row, they've been playing ugly football. These dudes have been winning games that look like games that we played as little kids out in the backyard. They're not winning professional games. These dudes look like my block against your block. That's
Yeah.
how they're playing these games. And I think that that's making Baker Mayfield and some of these teams uncomfortable because it becomes almost like a fight. It's not so much a football game anymore because you just have to withstand all the craziness that these guys are throwing at you. Now, do I think that this means the end of anything for Baker Mayfield and the Cleveland Browns? No, but I think they're going to have to let him get healthy again in order to be able to right that ship because he can't do some of the things that he's been used to doing. And that is a major part of how he's been able to be successful thus far for the Cleveland Browns. So we got to see if
Great
he can
point.
get healthy again. You know what I mean?
Great point. Great point. But Mike, I'm gonna look at it like this. The Cleveland Brown fans, they upset Dan and Raw. I think they should take all their anger and face it towards the coaching. I don't think Baker Mayfield is the problem. I think Baker Mayfield is part of the process of the coaching because a lot of decisions they made, especially a couple of those calls they were doing on 3rd and 5 and everything, I just all I could do was shake my head and thank God I wasn't a Cleveland Browns fan. What's your take when you saw if you saw the game? I don't want to assume you saw the game. What's your take on this, Mike?
I saw the game, and number one, let's Kareem Hunt is criticizing Baker Mayfield. So Baker Mayfield didn't have a superb game, but he was 18 to 37 for 247 yards.
Right.
So Kareem Hunt gets upset and says he's scared to throw the football. The Cleveland Browns yesterday were held to 40 yards rushing on 17 carries, and they averaged 2.4 yards a carry. And you're complaining about Baker not throwing the ball? Can we look at what y'all didn't do? Like, I mean, I'm not the biggest Baker Mayfield fan, but the dude is in there, and y'all can say he's doing it because he wants a contract. The dude is playing beat up for real. Now, if you put that same attitude on a different quarterback and change the narrative, they'd be like, yo, he's a soldier. He's standing in there for his team. And y'all critiquing this guy. Like, it kills me. Like, Josh Allen has had 2 out of the last 3 weeks. He's had some bad losses. Nobody's asking to bench this dude. Like, y'all, it's a long season. Last night, Frank, I can't agree with you more. Last night, that dude would step back 2 steps and already had somebody in his face. And he's not 6'5", 240 pounds. Yeah. Like, I don't know what everybody wants this make-believe. Lamar Jackson had a horrible game last night. Mm-hmm. Nobody's asking him for him to be benched. Like, I don't know what people don't understand. It's a long effing season. There are going to be highs and lows. Your team's going to go. Every team this year, Pat Mahomes was going through struggles. Matter of fact, he's still going through struggles.
Yeah. And let's be honest. If Baltimore Ravens had played just about anybody else, they would have lost that game. Looks like my man Stack with the facts has joined the show. Stack,
Stack, what's going on, sir?
Yeah, we ain't seen you so long. Stack, how was your holiday, bro? How's everything?
Oh man, holidays was it was chill this year. It was chill. Just spend time with the immediate fam and just took a break because it's been wild these days. That's why I can't come on box seats no more because it's been so busy.
Yeah, I get that. Mike, in case you don't know, Mike, we used to have Stack used to be with the show with us all the time. He used to be the one to come in and check our facts, so we used to mess up. And on this show, a lot of dudes was messed up all the time. So.
We the anti-vaccine. We anti-facts.
Quality assurance. Quality assurance. That's what I break here.
Yeah, I like it. So Stack, I'm gonna start the next question round with you because we were just finished talking about Baker Mayfield and talking about whether he should be benched or not. But I'm gonna start with you with the next one because you and I have kind of a vested interest in this next topic, and I'm gonna start with you and circle back with the fellas. The next thing is I gotta talk about Cam Newton. Had the worst day, and I mean the worst day of his NFL career. He was 5 for 21 for I think it was 100. Let me see. Not even 100, 62 yards it was. Let me see. Cam Newton, 5 for 21 for 92 yards. That's what he was at. He had the worst QBR rating of his career. He got benched during the loss because they obviously, the Panthers got destroyed by Miami Dolphins 33-10. Stack, we saw this firsthand as Patriots fans. We saw this last year. You know what I mean? But Cam came in this year. He got the first round. Obviously he goes back to the Panthers and he starts and everything else. And he yells, "I'm back" and everything else. I'm going to start with you, Stack, and ask you, are you surprised with what happened with the Carolina Panthers against the Miami Dolphins last year? Any surprise in Cam Newton's performance to you?
No. And maybe to a fault. I'm not trying to be super loyal to Cam, but I'm going to be gracious and graceful. This is the second year in a row that this man has got thrown into a situation where he didn't get a training camp to digest the playbook. So, granted, the first game, he was somewhat of a wild card that allowed them to win that game. He came in his first game. He threw a touchdown. He ran for a touchdown. I think that's all great. But as they play better opponents and just play more games, they can't do the little gadgets and stuff they did when he just kind of popped up on the team the day before the game. So I feel like Cam gets grace for this. I'm not surprised. He don't know the offense. And he's learning it now. So he's a lot more on his mind. He's not playing as freely, but last season with New England, it was a lot of the same thing. Like he got signed like a few weeks before the season started. And it was like, okay, we're just going to use him, and figure it out. And that's pretty much what he's doing again. So I got grace for Cam.
All right, well, Mike, I'm gonna ask you. I'll go to you, Mike, and say, do you feel the same way that Stack feels, or anything else? Because people now have a chance now to plan for Cam and everything else, and they know now that Carolina, their whole offense thing is going to be about running the ball. They're going to have to run before they throw. But I heard a lot of people complaining. Man, they said yesterday Cam couldn't hit the side of a barn. Yesterday, people are upset in Carolina. What's your take on this, Mike?
Before I say this, I'm rooting for Cam Newton. We have been making excuses for Cam Newton for 4 years now. For 4 years. We've got all, if you look at his numbers, if he retires right now, he's not even close to a Hall of Famer. His last 4 years, he ain't close to Kirk Cousins. Like, when are we just going to admit it is what it is? He's an inaccurate passer. In his best year, he wasn't he did very well that MVP year. But on a regular, he's not an accurate passer. He's never been.
Right.
He's never had a 5,000-yard season. He's had one 4,000-yard season in his career. Dog, Cam revolutionized. Like, what he did was amazing. The fact that linebackers were scared to tackle him was amazing. The fact that he put his body on the line for them Carolina Panthers, man, I salute that man. But we're not going to tell me that he's a great quarterback. And we've sat here for weeks, and everybody's been like, Cam's a beast. Remember when y'all were people on here saying, yo, Cam hasn't been a beast in 4 years.
Well, Mike, you ain't never heard me say that. I was
no, you haven't, but you know, they were killing me on here. And shout out to Taylor and Dave the Bully and dog. I want Cam to win.
Yeah, but
how about this? Matt Jones had one preseason and training camp to get the Patriots offense. One.
Right.
And look at the team right now.
Yeah, look where he's at right now. Yeah. And I thank God, because at the time I was a little upset, but I thank God that things worked out the way. See, that's why I'm not the coach. I coach from the couch. You know what I mean?
Can I raise my hand real quick?
Go ahead.
No, my fault.
No, Stack. I know you. Stack. Only thing I'll say about Mike's point about the New England Patriots, and I made this point last week. As I told you, the one thing about the New England Patriots, they just have a great system. Look, I know people don't want to hear that. Everybody wants to, whatever. They have a great system. They've had a great system for years. The fact that they can technically pull players and replace those players with somebody who's just like them and/or has a skill set maybe just a slight bit better or younger. You've seen it for years with the New England Patriots. I'm not going to disrespect this new quarterback and say that he's good, bad, and indifferent. If he's watching the system like he's supposed to and doing his homework, he should be prepared. Cam Newton, on the other hand, to Mike's point, I think, yes, he has fallen off in the last few years, but I also think when you put up the wear and tear that some of the African-American quarterbacks, and I know we hate to say this, but some of the African-American quarterbacks get hit way more than some of their counterparts, and they give up their bodies way more. But that's also because they're a lot more athletic.
Right.
It's also because the fact that these guys play the game in a different way than their counterparts. I'm looking at my man Aaron Rodgers this week. You barely touch him, or he barely gets touched. I barely see some of these white quarterbacks or their counterparts even getting late hits. Do you see how many black quarterbacks are getting late hits all day, every day? I'm watching games like, we nobody's going to say anything about that. We just going to act like that's okay.
I mean,
you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you opened up a can that we could talk about in that.
No.
For a long time.
And so what I'm saying though is those dinks and dunks and nicks, whatever, they add up over time. This is a long season, and to the point of the NFL, you're talking about wear and tear. And for some of these guys, maybe they're not the warranty isn't as long as we'd like it to be. And that's what we're seeing with some of these guys. And Cam Newton may fall under that category. Doesn't mean he's any less or better or worse. It's just his warranty may be almost up. So we got to be careful and watch how that warranty plays out over the next few seasons. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Stack, what were you gonna say?
Hey, no, and like, thank you, A-Rock, because that's exactly along the lines of what I was saying. Black quarterbacks have to put themselves on the line way more. Mm-hmm. And you let's just use the Patriots for an example. Yeah, Mac Jones is doing these great things. But the Patriots invested like $178 million in help.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, name a tight end on the Patriots last season.
Yeah, I mean, I could, but these guys probably couldn't. But I get your point.
Well, name a tight end now.
Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith. Jonnu Smith has led the league in yards after catch.
Right.
For the last 3 years.
Who got him the ball? Who got him the ball this year?
Wait a minute. Yards after catch. Hunter Henry has been a Pro Bowler the last few years in San Diego as well. Name one receiver from the Patriots last year. Name one guy that he was throwing the ball to.
I'll just name this. Any of those tight ends better than Greg Olsen?
Yes.
No, they're not.
I think so. I think Hunter.
Okay. Well, Greg Olsen in his prime, none of them has done with Greg. And Cam had Greg. He had him at his safety net with the Carolina Panthers for years.
So who was Cam's safety net in his year in New England with his 1 week of prep?
He didn't have one. He didn't have one. But I'm trying to understand your point.
I'm not making excuses for Cam. Cam is Cam, right? My issue is that when African American quarterbacks have deficiencies around them, we don't look at that. We just go, okay, he's underperforming, because the expectation is, and even outside of sports, the expectation is that for people that look like Cam Newton, we have to do 150% to get credit for 100%.
Mm-hmm.
But the truth of the matter is this: you mentioned Kirk Cousins. When Kirk Cousins first made a name for himself, he was game managing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mac Jones right now is game managing, and they're not even saying that he's not. Nobody's even the media reports that I've read. Nobody's saying Mac Jones is just a phenom. They're saying he's doing a great job at game managing. It's much easier to manage the game when you had a whole training camp to learn how we want to play the game. And for the last 2 seasons, Cam Newton hasn't gotten that, nor has he gotten any talent around him.
You know what you're doing, Stack? You're trying to create a whole nother show. I ain't trying to go down that whole lane right now.
Okay, but Stack makes a good point, and I want to make it clear. I want to make it clear. I agree with his points.
I do too. Yeah.
I just
Nelson
don't.
Aguilar, Kendrick Bourne, these dudes are all better than all the receivers from last season.
Well, Aguilar, stop when you bring Aguilar. Stop. Because I'm in Philly. Stop when you bring Aguilar. Stop.
He's better than Jacoby Myers.
Yeah. Okay. All right. It's just
Gunnar
Olszewski. But I agree with what he's saying. What I disagree is Russell Wilson. We have pointed out that Russell Wilson needs help.
Okay.
We have pointed out that Russell Wilson is by himself out there. Even with Metcalf, we have pointed that out. And I agree with everything you say. Black quarterbacks their deficiencies are pointed out faster than white quarterbacks. I agree all day. Between us, when we have a conversation between us, I'm saying I'm not giving that excuse to Cam Newton. Now, if you put me somewhere else, I understand what you're saying. Okay. I just think Cam Newton in the last 4 years has proven a point where he just, even when he has training camps, he still struggles.
If I was Cam Newton, this is what I would do right now. I'd like this to be my last year and then work on trying to be a broadcast guy for next year. That's what I would do, because he could speak eloquently. I think he could be on Fox, or he could be on one of these other networks doing his own thing. That's what I think he should be thinking about right now, because if they got Drew doing it right now, then he could do it too. That's what I would do if I was.
But also, we got a long season, y'all. He could actually come back and have
some
brilliant
he could rebound.
Games. And they could give the ball to Christian McCaffrey 20 times a game.
Name a guy who started more games for more teams in a shorter period of time with expectations.
Yeah, but there's only 5 more weeks left. So let's keep on moving, because I want to talk about a couple other things also. I don't know if you guys realize this, and honestly, because the Patriots I'm obviously not trying to be a homer here, but the Patriots now have won 6 straight.
You got to be on your hat. How you not going to be a homer? You got to be on your hat.
I'm trying to keep the show as neutral as possible, because I'm doing cartwheels.
Don't.
All right. Well, let me just. These are the facts. Patriots have now won 6 straight. They are doing what they're supposed to do, I guess, right now. Of course, we saw 2 TDs right now behind Mac Jones. Their defense is phenomenal right now and everything else. And right now, they are number 2 in the AFC right now. Amir, right now, we are looking at the AFC as being really, really tight. The Patriots are playing the Bills next Monday night. Patriots have supposedly shocked some people. Supposedly they're not shocked other people and everything else. Are you surprised at the mix-up of what's going on right now? Because Baltimore, now, thanks to the Patriots beating them, Baltimore is now the #1 top seed in the AFC. And let's not forget, Lamar Jackson threw 3 interceptions last night, and they played horribly. And Baltimore is the top seed AFC. What's your take on this, Amir? What you think?
I'm not surprised. Like I said, the one thing that you know about the Patriots and you know about Bill Belichick and his ability is Bill has it does a great job always of getting his teams prepared. Bill Belichick is one of those coaches who I admire because, like I said, over the years, I've watched this man just time and time again come back with the same ideology, the same, coaching and the same, plays. And he takes players out and puts a, different player in who, again, is, close to that same size and everything and runs the exact same thing. It's almost like Novocaine. It works every time. So I'm not surprised at that. Do I think that the AFC is going to be really tough down the stretch? I think so, because I think while some teams, especially the Patriots, are starting to blossom, I think other teams are starting to find their way. And I said a team like Baltimore, as y'all can see, they're winning scrappy games the last 4 weeks in a row. Every game that they've won in the last 4 weeks have been scrappy games. They're making it ugly for you. They're making it, feel like, you out there, like I said, in a street fight. So you got them. Kansas City looks like they might have possibly righted their ship. So it's going to be some, I think it's going to be really great to watch the rest of the season play out and then going into the playoffs, obviously, if everybody's healthy, to have a really great, playoff season and, see who comes out the winner. So I think that the Patriots are doing what they're supposed to be doing. Bill Belichick is always, ready to have his team be there at the end like gladiators. So I appreciate what he's doing.
All right, well, Mike, I'm gonna throw it to you because Baltimore last week when they played the Miami Dolphins. They got blitzed for almost 50% of the time, and we saw what happened. Baltimore ended up losing that game to the Dolphins and everything else. But right now, the teams that are surging is obviously the Patriots, the Kansas City Chiefs, maybe 2 or 3 more other teams. People have mentioned the Steelers and everything else. Are you surprised at where we're sitting at right now, Mike, in the AFC, and we're looking at Baltimore, New England, Kansas City, Buffalo? These guys are basically, and let's not forget the Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati Bengals now 7-4 also. Are you surprised at what's going on in the AFC, Mike? What's your take?
I want to preface this and say I'm from New York.
Okay.
Y'all better leave Bill Belichick alone. Y'all should have never got that man kicked up. Y'all should have never told him what he didn't do for that team. Y'all should have never told him that he wasn't 50% of them championships. Leave that man alone, and y'all done kicked up that man, and he got this defense playing on a different level. And I will say what Stack said, that Matt Jones is a game manager, and I agree. Yeah, the last person that Bill Belichick had that started his career as a game manager was Tom Brady.
Yep.
Y'all done kicked up this ghost, man. I tried to say this 3 weeks ago. Y'all don't want this smoke with this defense. I got experience with what Bill Belichick does for a defense with the Giants when we won our Super Bowls. Mm-hmm. Y'all played too much. We laughed too much last year. We giggled too much last year. We stuck everything to him. He barely lost that game against Tampa Bay. Yep. When I tell you, if I had to put my money on who's going to the Super Bowl at the AFC, I'd put it on the Patriots right now.
Let's go.
Right now. And I can't stand Boston.
And hold on. I didn't say that, y'all. I want to make sure I come in here. I didn't say that.
When you got a rookie quarterback that goes 23 for 32, passes for 310 and 2 touchdowns.
Let's go.
Yeah.
He got his mode. He has his mode. When Jay-Z told Dame Dash, if you made me make another one, Bill Belichick said, okay, I'm going to make me another one.
You know the funny thing is? Mike, the funny thing is talent gave me the hardest time. And I know, Amir, you remember this. We used to argue on box seats whether you either had a great coach or a great QB. After last year, what happened? I said all day I'd rather have a great coach, and everybody laughed at me. But here we are.
No, either one is equal. I'm just saying, like, either one is equal. Like, Tom Brady can change an average team right now and turn them into something. Either one, I'll take either one. But together, it's like the Avengers. Like together. But Bill Belichick, I'm like dog. If you give me Peyton Manning in his prime, and you put him on the Jets when they were going 9-7, and you put Peyton on the Jets going 9-7, they now win 11 games off the muscle.
Okay,
If you put Bill Belichick, like when you put Bill Parcells with the Jets, what they do? Go to an AFC Championship game.
Yeah, listen, I'm not denying that. I'm just saying right now you have a great coach, and a great coach last night on the Cleveland Browns and game planning would have beat the Baltimore Ravens. You know, I guess we could argue about that anyway, but I don't want to keep arguing about that particular point. I want to ask you, Stack, the same thing I asked these guys right now. Are you surprised what we're looking at with the AFC, the way the AFC is shaking out right now? You guys got Cincinnati, you got Baltimore, you got KC, you got the Patriots. The Patriots on a 6-game winning streak right now. And Stack, talk to me. Tell me because you know what I would say. I would say immediately off the cuff, the Patriots should be. Let's see, what's their record right now? They're what, 7-4?
8-4.
8-4. Yep.
Yeah, they could have won. Definitely, they would have only really lost one game. Let's be honest. What's your take on this, Stack? Go ahead.
You know, I mean, I don't nominate people for Emmy awards. That's not what I do for a living. But if I had any say, I would nominate right now the wonderful, wonderful analysis that we just received about the New England Patriots. Can we give a round of applause? Please. Because exactly, you know, like make another Hove, right? Make another Tom. And that's what we're doing here. And he's absolutely right. He's absolutely right. Too much giggling, too much laughing. And honestly, it stinks that I feel like Cam Newton had to be the horse to get beat for that. You know what I'm saying? But let's just be real. A Bill Belichick defense automatically qualifies you for the playoffs. Automatically. Everybody forgets that Tom Brady tore his ACL and we went 11-5 with Matt Castle.
Yeah,
we missed playoffs at 11-5, which is like an anomaly anyway. But 11-5 without Brady, it is definitely the system. And I just feel like as far as the AFC is concerned, New England is still the upper class of the AFC, mainly due to the system that is in place.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, I'm gonna say this. I feel like this. The last 2-3 years of football has been very there's been a lot of parity. Like you can pick and choose. You can pretty much know that like anybody could win it type of deal. But I feel like the way Bill Belichick coaches is similar to Alabama, and from some of my peoples that I know that played under these dudes, they all say this. They say those guys don't coach or create their game plan based off of their own philosophy. They literally develop a philosophy for each position and then get a player that fits the height, weight, and the mindset to fit winning football at that position. And that's what we're seeing happen that's why Jamie Collins can be a 6th round, 4th round pick and then come and be a Pro Bowler as soon as he gets to a system like New England because he's in a position to succeed. Nick Saban does the same thing. That's why the Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu, that's why he didn't get a scholarship to Alabama. Because Nick Saban said, yo, all my corners need to be 6 feet or taller, and they need to run this speed, and they need to have this mindset. So he goes to LSU, he kills it. He's one of the best safeties in the league. But it's that mentality, that Nick Saban, Bill Belichick mentality. I'm not surprised with nothing in the AFC. The Patriots probably will be in the Super Bowl. I think that Baltimore knows how to grind it out, but I feel like New England grinds games out. Those first 4 losses were all very close games. You know what? The only game we should have lost was the Saints.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Let's switch over to the NFC, and I'm gonna start with you, Mike, this one right now, because y'all sitting there watching the box seats, thinking I'm not gonna talk about the NFC, but I'm gonna talk about the NFC because I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this: the team that shocked me yesterday. There's 2 teams right now in the NFC that I'm taking a good look at too. 2 teams. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers I'm looking at, obviously because of Tom Brady and the way they came back and won that game. And I will say this for the record, Indianapolis Colts gave that game away with the 2 turnovers late in the game. And the other team that surprised me is the San Francisco 49ers because Jimmy G is playing, he's not playing like monstrous game and everything else like that, but their offense is coming alive and their defense is alive. So, we talked about a couple of the AFC. Well, let's talk about the NFC, Mike. You tell me what's surprising you in the NFC because let's be honest right now. The way that the 49ers came back and beat the Minnesota Vikings and everything, I thought the Vikings had that game locked up. I was like, yeah, but now the 49ers won, 2 in a row, 3 in a row? They're coming back. What's your take on this, Mike? What's your take for the NFC? What you think?
You know what surprised me about the NFC is that nothing surprises me now because it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. and Aaron Rodgers.
Mhm.
Everybody else can have their say. Matt Stafford had his chance yesterday to show. Not the season's not over. Once again, we have to give our review after the Sunday, so it's always overreaction. But it's Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. That's who's going to play in the NFC Championship, and we're going to figure it out from there. Matthew Stafford, I'm sorry, dog. You've had your opportunity now on 2 different occasions to show that you was built for this and to take your team over the top, and you haven't. And Aaron Rodgers, I don't like Aaron Rodgers.
But the 49ers not surprising you, Mike? Like, the 49ers not surprising? I mean, because Aaron Rodgers, Green Bay did what they were supposed to do. It was shocking to see the Rams lose like that. So no surprise at you?
No, because I think Cal Shanahan is a wonderful offensive coordinator. We always forget that Cal Shanahan was the reason the Atlanta Falcons blew that Super Bowl. Like, for some reason, everybody goes to Dan Quinn and doesn't go to Cal Shanahan. Cal Shanahan started this little semi-quarterback controversy in the beginning of the season, and you're supposed to be making a Super Bowl run, and you're starting this nonsense that you just drafted this guy. Well, obviously, you're not making a Super Bowl run if you got a semi-quarterback controversy.
Yeah, that's a great point. Great point.
To me, it's Aaron Rodgers in Tampa Bay.
And man, what's your take? You think Minnesota's going to come back and do something, or are you shocked at what's going on with the way things are shaking out right now, or you just think it's going to be Green Bay and Tampa Bay? Because right now, like I said, I think the 49ers are picking up steam, and they're not just winning, they're dominating. You know what I mean? You got a couple of games like that, and the Minnesota Vikings, even though they lost yesterday, they're making a little bit of, they're in almost they were in every game this year. You know what I mean? Losing some close games. What's your take?
Well, I think the NFC not probably doesn't have as much parity as the AFC seemingly. Yes, Tampa Bay looks strong as always. Green Bay looks strong as always, but y'all know how I feel about both of those quarterbacks and some of the foolishness that the NFL does to preserve those 2 guys. I'll just say this. You saw the Green Bay game yesterday. The same play that supposedly what's our man, the bad man, didn't do last year. He's already done twice this year. I keep telling y'all, there's some other stuff going on that nobody really wants to talk about, but that's, like you said, a whole nother show. But I do think that the NFC, has some teams that are out front. But I think there's some other teams that could shock some people. The one thing about the NFL is any given Sunday, which means if you have any semblance of a bad moment, whether it be your special teams, you throw too many interceptions, and a team capitalizes on those things, everybody can take a loss. You talking about
the Eagles game yesterday. You talking about the Eagles game yesterday?
No. No, because the one thing that I said, even for the Eagles, for the Giants, I mean, for the NFC as a whole, the Giants this year have just about been in every game. They just can't tackle anybody. When you can't tackle, it doesn't help you. The teams that are winning on both sides in the AFC and in the NFC, if you watch those games, those teams are tackling people. They're not just trying to knock them over. They're not trying to see if they can hit them hard. They're wrapping dudes up and putting them on the ground. That's the difference. If you can't do that, then it doesn't make a difference. You know what I mean? So I think that we got to see.
Stack, what's your take on the NFC and how tight things are looking at? Are you surprised by some of the teams that are bubbling and coming up lately, like the Minnesota Vikings of the world, and even though they lost, or maybe Seattle, maybe there's a couple of teams up there that is surprising me. It's surprising me the way the NFC's shaking out. What's your take on where you're looking at right now?
I feel like it boils down to Aaron Rodgers versus Tom Brady, but I'm not surprised by the parity. But I do feel like the defensive weaknesses on Tampa Bay, if the seeding lines up correctly, I think the Cowboys got a chance to come out the NFC still. I don't want to just leave it to like Green Bay or Tampa right now. I feel like the Cowboys, if anything, have like a better chance of really because they've got the firepower, and I feel like Tampa's got the defensive weaknesses to get caught off guard. So I feel like really it's Dallas, Tampa, and Green Bay right now. Even though Dallas, they're really good at pissing down their leg essentially, but I feel like if they get hot at the right time and Tampa's Bay defense does what they do, I think Dallas could easily come out the NFC.
Yeah, see, I don't know necessarily if I agree with that, because Dallas right now, man, I think they're gonna lose this week. They lost yesterday. I think I don't see Dallas being up in there because they're going in the wrong direction to me. You know what I mean? That's just the way I feel about the Cowboys. So
quiet as kept Ezekiel. They're about to sit Ezekiel because of his knee injury. Yeah. And Dak Prescott is not healthy.
Yeah,
they can lie all they want. Okay. He's not healthy. And it's a hope. Real quick, this is my suggestion, real quick, for tomorrow. Can we talk about the worst officiating in football history that is going on in this league, where they called a false start on the Raider center because he looked down and he looked up, and they called a false start. Y'all NFL, all you analysts make us normal folks look like we're crazy and we're conspiracy theorists on how these officials are calling these games. This is embarrassing. And at some point, somebody's going to break a story that's going to crack this thing wide open, because this nonsense, you're actually making me watch something and say I'm not seeing what I'm watching.
The NBA too. You saw
NBA too. NBA too.
The referee.
NBA too.
I gotta just say, Mike hit the nail on the head, because this weekend since Thanksgiving Day, I've seen most worst officiating on not one game, and several games that I've ever seen in my entire life. Like I can't even. You know what the crazy thing is? I'm getting used to the normalization of horrible calls during games. You know what I mean? I'm getting used to it. I'm getting numb to it.
What's funny is when they question a call and then they bring the expert official on.
Yeah.
And he gets quiet.
Yeah.
So what do you think about this play? And he goes, back to you. Like,
Breaking news is I was watching the game with my family and everything else. Now, I didn't have anything to do with it. I didn't care who one way or the other. But on Thanksgiving Day, I'm watching it. I said, you know what? I don't even know what pass interference is anymore. I have no clue.
I don't know.
I knew what it's supposed to be, but I don't know what it is now. Like the way, you know what I mean? Because pass interference in one game is not pass interference in another game.
In another game.
I mean? Yeah, it's
clear. It's clear favoritism. That's what it is.
Yes.
It goes along the lines of whichever the channel, whatever the network wants that team to win. That's the way I believe. You know what I mean?
But I don't even know, because I'm watching that Chicago Bears game like 2 weeks ago. Who were they playing? The Bears were playing
the Steelers.
I forget.
The Steelers.
I think it was the Bears and the Steelers. Like, dog, both teams were getting screwed. It was going back and forth, and everybody was like, "What?
It was terrible.
What are we doing right now?"
Maybe Mike, we're gonna have to have a long, because that's you brought it up. I didn't even think of that.
Some breaking news about the Panthers. Christian McCaffrey's out for the season, by the way, y'all.
He got hurt again.
So that's the second time. Look now, once again, Cam Newton's gonna take a beating, right?
Yeah. Because they know he's gonna have to rush.
Because another organization is on in a desperate position, and it seems like those are only positions we want to put him in.
Yeah, Cam is not going to be able to play much longer anyway, and he's supposed to be fighting for his contract. But anyway, that's the show. We got to get ready to roll up out of here, because that's the show. Stack, thank you for jumping in the show, because a lot of the guys weren't able to make it. Mike, thank you for obviously being there all the time. Amir, thank you for jumping in the show too. Amir, tell everybody out there how they can follow you, bro.
Y'all can follow me at A-Rock Silly. I do my Motivational Monday show tonight on Facebook, on whimsradio.com, myself and talent. But I got a special guest host with me this evening. So 6 p.m. Motivational Monday. And then usually I'm hanging out with these guys here on the box seats, 1 to 2 p.m. every weekday.
Thank you for doing that, bro. I appreciate that. What's the topic on the show tonight?
The topic on the show tonight is really just coming off the weekend and what Thanksgiving and, hopefully spending time with your friends and family has meant, and how that's helped you get ready for the weekend.
Stack, talk to me. Tell everybody out there how they can follow you, bro.
Y'all can catch me right now on Instagram at Stacking Over. That's really all. That's the only place I really be at these days. Y'all can catch me doing that, and hopefully catch me on the box seats a few more times. Thank y'all for having me out.
Thank you.
Back in the lab. It's been so crazy, but I promise in the 2022 Stack is coming back with a vengeance, with the fact.
And Mike, as usual, being the steady force that you always being there all the time throwing it. Mike's hit me up with some facts every day and stats. Stack, he's trying to take your job, bro.
Hey, do it, bro. Look, I ain't from Zion, okay? And
Mike doing a great job.
I was gonna call myself Stack No Facts when I came into. I was gonna be like, look, Stack, No facts. It's feelings. It's feelings.
Mike is doing a great job. Mike, tell everybody out there how they can follow you, man, and about your morning show. Are you still do your morning show in the mornings, Mike?
Every morning, Media Room 360. Download the app. Follow me at Mike Sean Comedy. Shout out to everybody who came out to the Stress Factory. It was crazy last night. And also shout out to Amir, because from here on out, I'm wearing a tie with my hoodie on every show. No, I'm gonna have a tie with my goddamn hoodie.
I like that.
I'm tired of being I'm tired of feeling like a kid every time I'm on the show.
You know, Amir always pull out his grown man wear. We go to a sports show, bro.
And then I saw Amir out in the streets, and he was regular. He came to the comedy show. He was. I was like, "Yo, you regular?"
Mike, how do they follow you, Mike Sean Comedy?
At Mike Sean Comedy. Follow me on there and let's keep it moving. Yeah.
All right, y'all. Thank y'all for watching. Everybody else will be back tomorrow. Rodney, Talent, Fig, of course, the business bully. He'll be back tomorrow. Everybody's still trying to recoup for the holiday. Hope you all had a great holiday weekend. I'm Frank. This is the show called Box Seat. It's on every day on the channel called Humor Mill. Download the app. Tell a friend to tell a friend. And all that great stuff. We'll be back tomorrow where we're going to discuss the rest of the NFL games. We got to obviously talk about some of the NBA stuff that happened over the Thanksgiving. I mean, there was a lot of stuff that jumped off too. I didn't even touch on the Lakers and Detroit recap. I didn't even touch on that, and I was trying to get to that. There's just not enough time to do that. All that. But anyway, y'all.
We need a whole show.
Y'all, thank you for watching. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank y'all, man. Appreciate y'all. Take care. Peace.